So, if you have recently watched my previous videos, I have this AI generated videos talking about static state, don't fight with your thoughts, and how to deal with burning out. And this is the real life part of it. Um, if you're in school, if you're creating a community, and then you are struggling with you know completing a task or even starting with a task, the biggest issue is really it's not about that you need more discipline. It doesn't even mean that you are not capable, right? Because the problem always we have is we always think that you need to hustle more, you need more discipline, you need to be very consistent. And it's okay to be consistent, right? It's okay to be productive, but how do you do that? If you compare yourself to somebody who was already 5 years in a game or 3 years in a game, and then you try to be like them, that's another level, right? And even those guys are struggling. They have maybe have already some team in their on their business. So how to overcome overthinking, productivity, being consistent without ending up burning out, without ending up overthinking. It's the mind, right? If you keep on arguing on the mind, if you keep on having a debate with the mind, like, and you keep on arguing on the thoughts that's been running in your head. For example, you want to create something. You want to create a. Yesterday I discussed about the course, but you want to create a a content just like what I'm doing right now, right? And you, a lot of people they want to make perfect. They want to have everything organized, clear outline, valuable, juicy informations and stuff. But the moment that you are preparing yourself, there are a lot of stories running in your head. A lot of the mind is like a storyteller. It keeps on giving you information about it has to be perfect, it has to be nice, people will not listen to you, and all those mind chatter, right? What you're doing is not enough, it's not gonna provide value. All those mind chatter keep on running in your head. And then you start arguing with those stories. That's the stories in the mind. You keep an argument with your mind. Like, no, it has to be done. It has to be. This is how my business will be successful. This is how my business will blow up. But the moment you're doing that, the moment you keep on arguing with the mind, and then it is telling you a limited belief stories or stories that will not even help you, that stops you make getting you started, or in better words, gives you that emotion of feeling the sense of urgency, feeling of pressure, every feeling of tension that the story that the mind gives you. If that is the case, and you give attention to the mind, you lost the game. Because the mind, if it is operating on its own, it becomes destructive. It's like a monkey jumping inside your head. So, how to deal with that is what I normally do, and inside in our community is we start using awareness. Awareness is the first step. Because when you start to be aware of the mind, of those stories, once you feel that you are in a static state, like you're in a feeling that you're tense, you're pressured, you have that feel of urgency, you have this pressure in your feeling, it means that there's a story running in your head. So once you identify that story, once you just notice it, you don't have to argue it, you just watch that story, identify it, label it, right? Once you do that, then you will have that space on not reacting to that thought. Because once you react to that thought, the mind becomes stronger. The more it's gonna give you explanations or reasons or excuses or whatever, and then it just gets you more overthinking, because the more you give more attention to that, the more thoughts about what the mind is telling you is gonna pop out, different excuses. So it's multiplying like mushrooms, right? So if you just notice the mind, you just watch it, use your awareness, then you start creating a gap, you start creating a distance with the mind. And that alone, you are able to have the option to transform, to not feed energy to that mind. Because if you just notice the mind, if you just notice that story, normally it doesn't, you don't feed that energy, it just goes away, right? But now, since you have that tension because of that mind, once you actually notice the mind, you just be aware of it, its power weakens, right? But then your nervous system are still in tension. Then you take a deep breath, just reset your nervous system, right? And then that gives, that indicates that you are in a safe place. You are not on a defensive mode. You are not on a reactive state. Now you have a choice. Now you take control of yourself. So why you do that? Because the moment that you have these negative thoughts from the mind chatter, normally you respond emotionally, right? So your body, your nervous system is in tension. So you need to reset that. So once you do that, you notice the thought. Now, those stories anyway that the mind is telling you is all bullshit, right? It's just a stories that's been running in your head, and it doesn't have to be real. It just feels real if you put more energy into it, right? So the moment that you have those ideas or those stories in your mind, you can now, because you created the gap through awareness, you created that space, you can now flip that story, right? For example, the mind was telling you something like you want to do something, but but the mind excuses are stopping you. You just, hmm, example, I'm gonna record a video, right? Instead of not getting started because of all the stories, now you just take a reset, you be aware of that story, and then now you can create this and then say, oh fuck it, I'm just gonna create now. I'm just gonna record a video, right? This is the topic, and then just do it. Because the moment that you do that, the moment that you get started, and then you are in a calm state, then you become productive. Then you create. You can get more ideas, right? So that's how you get started. That's how you start taking action without pressure. Simply by noticing the mind. Use awareness. Right. And another thing that is powerful is once you rewire that story, once you flip that story, right, that I'm going to start creating this video, and it's going to be valuable. I know that people will be needing this information. As an example, you use gratitude. So how you use gratitude of this new story that you created is find an experience in your life that supports that new story, right? For example, if you've done a previous video, or you have given an advice to somebody related to the niche that you want to create in your community, or any information that you want to create, or a content, anything that ties up on that new story, you be thankful from that experience. Because what it does, your mind sees that supports this new story as a reality, because you have a past experience that you can tie with it, and then your mind will simply acknowledge it as true. And the difference is, you respond to the mind instead of reacting it. When you respond, when you use awareness, when you use reset your nervous system, and then use gratitude, you basically take control of the mind. So you don't get distracted. You take control. And once the mind is tamed, once the mind is being controlled by awareness, by yourself, then the mind becomes a good servant. The mind becomes relaxed and then becomes creative. It doesn't run like a monkey anymore in your head. Give it a try. And from that state, you take action. Then your action will be with no pressure. Just give it a try with anything, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to send an email? Are you going to create a module or a course? Are you going to create an about me page, or are you going to create a content that you want to post in your community? Before you do that, check your state. Are you in a static state? Are you in pressure? Then, if that is the case, watch your mind. What story is it running? Because that static state, that emotion comes from a story from your mind. And then you notice that, you create distance, take a deep breath, reset, no tension, rewire that story, flip it to something that supports what you want to do. Use gratitude as your past experience that can support that, and then boom, take action. Then you will have no pressure. You will take action with ultimate clarity. Just give it a try. And that's what we do inside our community. It's called Klariti. In the description, I'll put all the details. And then see you inside. Hi. Peace.